What's up, everybody, and good morning, and who doesn't love an Oreo cookie? Welcome to episode 195 of Standing Out. We are creeping our way towards episode 200, which is going to happen on Thursday next week, December 8th. We would love for you to join us for that episode. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have some giveaways, and we have some announcements for the new year. So make sure you make plans to join us at 10:30 a.m. December 8th and every day for an episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. We got a great show for you today. We've got a great week of shows, and it's just going to get better and better all week long. Can't wait for tomorrow's episode, and on Friday as well. My good friend Michael Caney from Highway is going to be there. So we got a lot of good things coming up. Oh, tomorrow is Friday. Man, what am I doing? Hey, listen, while you're surfing the web today, why don't you go check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com and see how we are helping companies move out of the realm of obscurity to becoming a well-known and trusted brand in order to grow revenue. We'd love to work with you, so fill out a form and we'll follow up with you soon. Got a new website dropping in 2 weeks, everybody. If we can get it out the door, we're excited about that. Looking forward to that. So we'll announce that and launch it as well. Also, while you're on the website, you might as well pick up some swag while you're there. We got some great merch for the store. We've got water bottles, mugs, all kinds of great things. And we also need to change the coupon code. So don't use that coupon code. We're going to have a new one tomorrow because it's now December. It's hard to believe November is over, everybody. So we'll have a new coupon code for you soon. But check that out. Pick up a mug. And when you get your merch, make sure you send us a picture. We'd love to see it and celebrate with you. Thank you for supporting what we're doing here at Beta Consulting Group. Also, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, TAFS, the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping owner-operators and small carriers keep those wheels turning with cash flow resources, discounts on fuel, tires, and so much more. So check them out at tafs.com and let them know that Trey sent you. Or simply click on the link that Ruth is going to put into the comments today, and that will take you directly to my landing page so they know that I sent you. And hey, listen, if you're a freight broker, you can become a referral partner. So check it out, click on the link and get started with them today. Let them know that Trey sent you. All right, we got a great show today. We got round two with this guy. We had him on about a month and a half ago, and the conversation went so well and so fast, we didn't get to cover everything. So we had to come up with a round two today. And so please welcome to the show, the Chief of Staff from Fox Logistics, Kyle Mlakar. Kyle, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, good to see you. How are you?
It is good to see you as well. That background makes you look like you're in Secret Service protection just a little bit. It's a dark background. So there we go. We need to get you to come up into the light a little bit.
There we go. How's that?
Man, it is good to have you back on the show. How is everything at Fox Logistics? How are you doing? What's good, man?
Oh, man. I don't know where to start, but I have to say first, was that a double stuffed Oreo? Because I would crush some double stuffed Oreos right now.
Unfortunately, it was a regular, but it still was good. And I had to eat it within the countdown timer. So I had to go quick and wash it down. So
awesome.
It was a challenge.
No, excited to be back. Thank you so much for twice in 200. I feel incredibly honored. Life at Fox is great. I think right before our last or right after our first session, at episode 150, we were just about to head out to the Inc. 5000. We were ranked number 268 of the 5,000 fastest growing private companies of the U.S. In the year of 2022. So we went out to Arizona, brought out much of the team that was heavily responsible for that achievement. Great week, just around an incredible community where everyone was sharing so many different ideas from so many different industries. And that's really been a big hallmark and has kind of pushed us, as a momentum builder for the last part of this year, and I'm certainly into 2023.
I love that. What do you think is really to account for the massive growth that you guys have experienced? Do you think it's being in the right place at the right time? Is something to do with culture? Like, what has really been the catalyst for you guys?
We talked about it before, and I think it's a common theme. It starts with our team. It absolutely starts with our team. Our team is bought into the mission and the vision and the values of Fox prior to me even coming aboard a little over 14 or 15 months ago. But then what we've been able to do over the last year, they just have continued to buy in, and add value, contribute wherever they could. And when everybody's coming to a place that they enjoy being at every single day, then sky's the limit. Then little things that we do, our ROI on those little activities just explode. And so that's really been it. I think it starts with the team.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you referenced mission, vision, and core values, because a lot of companies, I think, don't utilize that very effectively to galvanize a team in the right direction. Everybody's going towards the same purpose. They understand what the mission is. They understand what the goal is, the vision, what's going to happen when we achieve our mission and our core values, what we're going to stick to. And the more that you preach that consistently and communicate that consistently, it really galvanizes everybody to a purpose. And when you have purpose, it changes the whole game in terms of a team and what they can achieve. And so I love the fact that you referenced that. I wish more companies would focus on that.
Oh, we start on it day one of the interview. I mean, from the first time that I'm talking to somebody who's considering us and we're considering them in terms of coming on as a team member, and it could be here in the States, or it could be in our 3 nearshore offshore teams in the Philippines, Colombia, and Macedonia. It starts with our core 5, and I'll share those if you don't mind. Number
Please.
1, positive attitude. Positive attitude. You got to enjoy what you get to, who you get to work with, what you get to do. It's a blessing that we get to work and do things like this. So number 1, positive attitude. Number 2 is a servant leader who's willing to jump in, help out, no matter what. You're a smart person, contribute, figure out a way to help move the needle for your team or for somebody else. Number 3 is a sense of urgency. Everybody who knows this industry, there is a pace of play. That's what we like to talk about. There's a pace of play to this industry. You got to move. And so that's a huge thing for us, is just to have a little bit of intent and purpose behind everything that we do. Number 4 is a willingness to raise your hand, which we're actually going to reconcept in 2023 to growth mindset, something that you and I have talked a lot about. So that's really somebody who, look, we're a 100% remote company across 4 different countries. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't get to work right alongside you. So if you have a problem, question, concern, or an idea of how we can get better, I need you to raise your hand. And not everybody's willing to do that. Thankfully, our team doesn't have a problem now raising their hand. Last but not least is integrity. It pulls everything together. It holds us accountable both to ourselves, our team, but also to our customers and our carrier partners. But we always want to focus on doing what we say we're going to do and when we say we're going to do it. So those are our core 5, and it's huge to our team.
I love the fact that you know them, that you can explain them, and that you start off with those in the interview process, because it really sets the tone for the company. And again, there's like these are simple things. These are basic block and tackling, but unfortunately, a lot of companies don't do that very well. And I'd love to hear more about this, maybe in another episode, I don't know, but I'd love to hear more about how it's working at a freight brokerage that is growing massively, that is 100% remote, because there's a big debate going on right now on the return to office. And some people are saying, hey, freight brokerages can only, function well in the office. People want that. But there's also a lot of people that don't, and you're finding a way to make that work from a remote perspective. I think that's phenomenal. Give me one key that makes that work for you guys.
Technology helps. We have found ways for us to continue to stay in contact with one another, work alongside each other, that is outside of just Slack or Teams or some sort of Zoom call. It's a little bit more continuous. I think that's a big part of it. Tech plus people, winning strategy. If you can do both of those things pretty well, you're going to be okay. And I think it's just also finally an embrace of one strategy, not trying to do too many things or have too many different identities. We've leaned in, bought in, and put all the chips in on being 100% remote. Let's just leave it at that and perfect that organizational strategy and dynamic to the best of our ability.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I mean, communication is what it's all about, and being able to maintain that communication with your team. We're 100% remote as well. And so that consistent connectivity is really important. And technology is very helpful to do that. Technology, not only with, like you said, the messaging and video conferencing apps, but workflow tools and things like that, where there's that constant touch with the team members, that makes a big difference. So that's awesome. All right, well, let's pause for a minute, because what we're here to really talk about today. Oh, but before I say that, I will promote this. Next Wednesday, I'm going to have Brent Orsuga and Charlie Safro on the show. And we're going to talk about the labor market and this whole return to work, return to office plus, remote work. And they both have different takes on it. So there may be some punches thrown. Or
I'll make sure to tune in for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. Looking forward to hearing what they have to say about that and what everybody else has to think about that as we kind of go back to a little bit more of a normalcy, but certainly not normal compared to what we had before. But what we're talking about today, though, is we didn't get a chance to talk about this last time, and you and I talked about this offline a little bit, we're both kind of, a generalist in nature. We're both kind of a jack of all trades. And I want to hammer in on that a little bit and talk about, the value of that, the value of being a generalist when, especially as you're growing, sometimes people think they really need to focus on specialists. And I wanted to get your take on that and really kind of break that down. So give me your thoughts on, generalists and the value of that and how you've seen that play out in your life.
Yeah, no, I was thinking last night, hey, what are we going to talk about? Picking up kind of where we left off from before. And I used to have like a fear of being a jack of all trade and a master of none. Maybe it wasn't a fear, but when I was coming out of high school a long time ago, that was like the beginning of everybody having a specialty. You had to be the very best violinist or pianist or the best on the debate team or athlete of whatever sport you were going after. I was not one of those people. And my dad was always talking about, kind of the glue. You got to be the glue that holds everybody together. That's kind of an innate thing and an ability to have. And what I've started to figure out really over the last couple of weeks leading up to our show is my specialty is actually being a generalist. The specialty is being a jack of all trades and master of none. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. Because to the point that we were talking about just before we came online today, it's value, right? And it's value in yourself. What do I enjoy doing? I enjoy learning about a lot of different things. It keeps me engaged, keeps me fresh. All of it is in a context really of what can I then impart on our team, our company, our organization, our customers, everything else that we do. But that's what I like to do. So I figured out a way to make money doing what I like to do, which is to learn and to add value and to be a generalist. So I don't know, those are just some interesting opening thoughts that I kind of had to share.
Yeah, and I grew up with the same kind of mentality. My story was more sports related, but goes beyond that as well. But my dad was always the coach of the teams that I played on as a little kid. And when you're the coach's son or the coach's kid, you end up playing the position of whatever kid doesn't show up. So, there might be a kid that does, plays second base and something comes up, he doesn't show up. Okay, well, I'm playing second base that day. If everybody showed up, then I got to play either catcher or shortstop, which were my favorite positions. But if somebody didn't show up, my dad, I guess, only trusted me to go fill a position. And so what that frustrated me with Kyle growing up was that when you go to school, there would be these debates about like who the best third baseman was in Little League. Well, I didn't play third base all the time. So I couldn't really participate in these debates. And I kind of hated that, like not being a specialist or being that way. But what I learned was it allowed me to grow as a baseball mind, or as a basketball mind, because I started to see the game from different positions, understand how different positions worked. It helped me when I became a coach in high school. I coached high school baseball and softball and understood the dynamics a little bit differently. And being a generalist, especially when you are the leader of an organization, can be really valuable. And then maybe you hire specialists in certain areas, but being a generalist allows you to understand how this whole thing moves together. And that's tremendous value. And I love that just, hearing you talk about that and finding a way to provide value doing that. I think that's really, really important. I think generalists get a bad rap sometimes. And, we're here to change that.
Yeah, I do
today.
Too. There's like a limitation that people preset in what that generalist, was and for anybody's title or whatever that may be. And people, that's a whole nother debate about titles, so on and so forth. But, there was speaking of the Inc. 5000, right? I've just been absorbing and going back over my notes. And I was on another webinar yesterday, listening in on somebody who I've really keened in on over the last couple months since that event. And it's Chip Conley, who was got into boutique hotels a long time ago, and then was kind of a mentor of Airbnb in the early days. And then he's gone on to create a really interesting modern elder academy, which is about creating kind of a new generation of those that are maybe transitioning out of their career and into the next chapter of their lives, and how are they going to kind of continue to evolve and grow and adapt. And he said yesterday, resiliency buys you time, adaptability buys you a future. And then speaking to our point today on being a generalist and understanding how all these different players work together, and breaking those all those little layers down, you become somebody who can adapt and add value. And now you all of a sudden contribute, and your career is everlasting, ever evolving, ever changing. Roles change based off of a lot of different things. But I don't know, that really stuck on me yesterday. I was really glad that I tuned into that because I wanted to bring that up to you today.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And you're so limited if, as a specialist, you really aren't adaptable or able to recreate yourself in some form or fashion. I think about, politics. We just had an election that came up. I know in 2020 we had, the election was really about, in 2016 in particular, was about coal miners and the coal industry and how government was trying to kind of shut them down. And they were like, well, these coal miners can just start coding. They can become technology developers. I don't know that a lot of them could have, but if they were able to do that, that adaptability gives them a future, like you said. And, having the skills to try new things and to learn new things and figure out what you're really passionate about, but what you can do as well. And there's a lot of value in that, especially in the marketplace, in terms of being able to provide what's needed, at the right time. And I think that's incredibly important. What are your thoughts when it comes to, like hiring? Do you look for generalists or do you look for specialists? Does it depend on the size of the company? Does it how do you navigate that?
I think first and foremost, it's thinking about what is the role. So, what do you ultimately want this role and the person that fulfills the role to be able to go out, execute, and accomplish and contribute to the team? And there are roles that are more general. Could be your entry level, could be your mid-level, just in terms of the scope is wider for them. And then you can get extremely finite into what specifically you want that person to do. And then it goes into, okay, well then what type of experience and traits and all those other things that I'm looking for. So first and foremost, it starts with the role and how does it play within your organization? And then from there, it goes to, well, where do I find, as we've talked about before, the best right talent for your organization? We talked about it in our previous episode, and I'll just bring it up again now. We look at talent. It can come from anywhere in the world. It does not need to be any longer in one particular location for us. That's the decision we've made for our company. And so we've added talent that contributes every single day across the globe. And, sure, would I love to work with some of the teammates that I've had at other organizations? Absolutely, of course. At the same time, I'm extremely grateful for the team that we have in Macedonia, Medellin, and the Philippines, because I've learned a ton from them. So when looking at generalists, it just starts from the role. Then where can I find them? And then where is the best talent and how do I bring them into the organization?
Yeah. And for me, it's the startup question. I wish there was a guide on this as a startup myself. Like, when do you start hiring for specialists and when do you go after generalists? Because we're at that place where everybody's wearing multiple hats. So you kind of need generalists as you start. But there comes a time where you start to get a little bit more specific about the role. And I just need somebody just to, wave a magic wand when the time is right and I'll know what to do, Somebody throw some fireworks in the air and say, okay, specialist now, do that. That'd be a good way to go about it. But no, I think there's so much value in what you're saying. Being a journalist just provides a lot and just gets a bad rap. It's the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. Well, I think I don't mind a jack of all trades, especially if I need like a contractor coming in doing several projects around my house. I don't know if I'd mind that he could do all of them, but sometimes it does call for somebody who's really, really good at what they do. Kind of niche.
Yeah, and I think you can help an organization, your company, your team, get through a time. If you're looking for a specialist, but you're dangerous, you're just good enough to be a little dangerous to carry the baton a little bit longer and make a little bit of iteration to maybe improve or make it easier once that specialist is found and brought into the organization. You've added value there, and then you can slide back and get back into really what is your core. But having the ability to move around a little bit, again, keeps you fresh, but allows the organization to continue to evolve and work down that path. You don't become a blocker for your own organization.
Right. Yeah, Sarah Ruffcorn of Trinity Logistics, I don't know if you're familiar with her or not, but she was on our show yesterday, and she was talking about her 20-year career in Trinity and how she was in sales and marketing and did HR work for a while and jumped on the tech team, and like she went through all these things, and now she's president of Trinity, and she has a great understanding of every part of the organization because she jumped around and kept it fresh. And she said yesterday, had she not made those moves, she may not have stayed at Trinity, and so it made a difference for her to keep it fresh and all those kind of things. So there's a ton of value in that. And speaking of hiring and things that are going on, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. What's your take on the companies today that are letting massive amounts of people go or letting people go, and companies that are still hiring? Because it's definitely not across the board. There are companies that continue to grow and are hiring. I've got several friends at St. Louis and other places that I talk to in the industry that are still hiring, but we're also seeing a lot of layoffs, tech companies in particular, but freight brokerages as well. What's the difference between those two companies?
Well, those that are having to make a tough decision to let some people go, check out my LinkedIn, check out our activity, check out our website, check out our industry, see if you have any interest in logistics and transportation, give me a call. It's a difficult thing that a lot of companies go through. I think for us, and hopefully for many others, like, you don't try to make rash decisions. You think about your team. For us, we think about all of those individuals that we have, and how do we continue to keep everyone together and moving forward. And thankfully, we've been able to do that. Those that are going out and continually building and growing, hang tight on your path and on your strategy, because it's always great to be growing. I think we're at Fox, we're mindful of kind of not wanting to get too far ahead of ourselves, and just continue to grow methodically, knowing that we can do that slowly. We can also pull the lever, which we've done in 2023. I mean, we took a year ago, the team was 24 employees at Fox. We're now 45. We've hired 2 more people that will start next week, and that should take us to the end of the year. So a considerable amount of growth over the last year. And do I know if we'll do that again in 2023? We could. But I think it's really taking a strong measure of what is realistic growth, what have you accomplished, and where can you go next? And because you can get way too far out ahead of a realistic strategy.
Yeah, certainly someone's loss is going to be someone else's gain, and this disruption could be a real blessing for people and for the industry. Some people may take a dip into entrepreneurship and start something that wouldn't have been created otherwise. They may try something new that they've been thinking about, or a new position, or whatever it might be an opportunity for them to reassess who they want to work for and those types of things. But it is a tough moment. But what I will say is this: it's interesting that a lot of these layoffs started November 9th and beyond, right after the election. So I think, unfortunately, these were probably in the works for a long time, but they waited till after the election to drop them. So we'll see what happens moving forward, and be a great conversation on Wednesday next week to talk about that.
Yeah.
All right,
sure.
Kyle.
Absolutely.
We got to pause for a minute, okay? So every show now we celebrate the national day, whatever it is. Like we had Thanksgiving recently, and got Christmas coming up, and all those kind of things. Do you know what today's national day is?
It's funny. I was just looking at like all of the holidays for December because I'm prepping for our town hall tomorrow, and I was trying to include some of the big ones that are coming up. You know what? I don't know off the top of my head.
You might really like this one today. I don't know. You might like this one. It is National Pie Day. And not like, a circumference of a circle in relation to the diameter pie day. Like, it is actual eat some pie day. Are you a pie eating person?
I mean, I certainly was a week ago Thursday. I mean, I had a lot of pie, and I finally feel like I'm kind of fully recovered from it.
What's your preferred pie? You only get one more piece of pie. What are you going with?
Ooh,
it's a tough one.
You know what? My grandmother used to make a grape pie by hand, and she would peel the skins off of all of the grapes before she would make, the filling. And she had a whole process. And this is somebody who kind of taught me and fulfilled my love of cooking, which I don't know if you know this, but I actually went to culinary school like a long time ago. And
I don't think I knew that, but that's cool. That's good to know. Good for me to know.
Yeah, sure. No, it's a great way to get invited back to anything. But I would go with her grape pie. That would be what I would do.
I have never had grape pie. I didn't even know it existed.
Exactly.
I mean, I know it's a fruit,
exactly.
but no one's ever made grape pie before. But that sounds.
There's one other one that now that I just think about it. There is a restaurant in Chicago. If anybody ever is there, make sure to put this on your list. It's called Bavette's Bar and Boeuf. I actually
How do you
worked there
spell
for
that?
about a year.
Bevetts?
Bavettetts.
Oh, I never would have gotten that.
Bar and Book. It's in River North. I'll send it to you afterward. They have a chocolate cream pie with an Oreo crust. I still dream about that thing. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm a pie person as well when it's around. I don't crave them, but when they're around, I certainly partake of them. I can't even pick because I love pumpkin pie. It's seasonal, of course, but I love pumpkin pie.
Mm-hmm.
A great apple pie with vanilla ice cream is great. I like cherry pie. My stepdad makes a killer peanut butter pie. I mean, it is so good.
Okay.
And of course, chocolate mousse pies are fun as well. So I don't know which one I'd go with, but I'm definitely a pie lover. So everyone out there, enjoy a piece of pie today. National Pie Day, everybody. So let us know what pies I'm not helping. God. Let us know what pie you're gonna eat if you only want one piece of pie left to eat. Okay, last thing, Kyle, before we finish this thing out, is we have a random question of the day every day. Our podcast director, Ruth, she gets to create this question. It's so random, I don't even know what it is. It could be funny. It could be serious. It could be a good question. It could be a dud. We don't know. But let's go ahead and see it. So the random question of the day today is, if you were a bagel, another food question.
Man,
if you were a bagel,
what is it with the food?
Bagel?
You guys are killing me.
Whatever restaurant you're going to next you're gonna order way more food than you actually need. But if you were a bagel, what type of bagel would you be?
Okay, I got to go back to my Chicago roots. I was there for 15 years. Some of the best food, obviously. Everybody talks about Chicago when it comes to food. There's a bagel deli there, and they had a Parmesan herb bagel. And that's another one now that I'm thinking about. I can literally remember how good it is. We used to get them at the first freight brokerage I was many moons ago. And
the taste is on your tongue. I can tell right now. Yeah.
Oh, my mouth is water. I mean, you're killing me today. The Oreos, the pie, the bagels.
It's been a food-focused day. For some reason, it just kind of worked out that way. That's for sure. I think if I were a bagel, I'd have to be maybe a cinnamon bagel or a chocolate chip. That's kind of what I love. I'm not as much.
You got a little bit of a sweet tooth. I got it.
Well, of course I got the Oreos. I'm total sweet tooth.
Yeah, right.
That's why I keep working out. I keep eating sugar and chocolate. So it's kind of the way it goes. All right, so let's finish. Good question, by the way. Good question. That was a good one. Let's finish.
Thanks,
with this.
Ruth. That was a good one.
Yeah, more food, of course. But let's finish the episode on this. If somebody is out there and they're a generalist and they're frustrated, like we've probably been, what's the best advice that you have for them to either keep going or to provide value? What's your final words to them today?
I think it would be just to continue to follow your instincts and your interests of where it goes. Don't be afraid of staying in one particular area. You can, if you want to, and you can become an expert and specialize in that field. However, don't also be afraid to not push open a little door and push your foot in first and take a look, understand a little bit and find some interest and just gain a little bit more knowledge. You'll add more value to yourself and you'll add more value to your company. But it will start with you. So that would be it. Just stay true to your instincts and stay true to your interests.
I think that's great advice. And I was going to go with the word initiate. And that is, when you have a leader or an employer, they may not know that you like to do different things. And so don't be afraid to go to a boss and say, hey, I just want to let you know that if there's a special project or something going on, I may be the right person for that because I like to learn different things. That type of information in the hands of a leader can be really valuable, especially when a need arises. So that's my advice: is don't be afraid to communicate that.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Growth mindset, right there.
Take the initiative. That's for sure. Well, Kyle, I'm so excited about what's going on at Fox. I'm glad to have you on the show. I think that you may have something you're going to share on LinkedIn tomorrow. So everybody, pay attention to Kyle's LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're excited to announce some things as we round out the year. But tomorrow there will be an announcement made, and you'll see it on LinkedIn. We appreciate your support for sure, Trey, and a lot of good, exciting things to celebrate as we wrap up what's been a great year in 2022.
I love it, man. Can't wait to hear about the announcement tomorrow. And again, we're going to have you back on the new year for episode 3. You're just going to be a regular on the show. So I hope you don't mind that, but love to have you back soon. And those who are watching, thanks for being a part. Again, let us know what pie that you really love when you get a chance. And make sure you come back tomorrow because we're going to have Michael Caney, the Chief Commercial Officer of Highway, is going to be on the show tomorrow talking about what's going on at Highway. Have you checked out Highway and what they're doing?
I haven't, but I'm going to now that
I'm going to make an introduction.
Right,
I'll make an introduction for you. I don't know the guys over at Jordan. They're
please.
awesome guys.
I
I'll make an
appreciate
introduction.
that. Thank you.
Make sure you come back tomorrow and check that out. And it's Finish Strong Friday. So make sure you get after it tomorrow and finish the week out really strong. We appreciate all of you being on the show, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10:30 for an episode of Standing Out, daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. We will see you guys on the flip flop. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, man.